Casas.
Me.
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, find MassMoney.com, and by Golf.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Slayton looking in it right here. Swinging a fly ball center field. Rafaela settles under. He's there, and the Red Sox win it. 4-2 the final score. Of course, they wanted to be greedy and win all four, but they take 3 out of 4, and time to say goodbye to the White Sox.
Took 3 out of 4 in a series. I agree with you. 4-3 against this White Sox team of the season. It is what it is. You move on. The starting pitching has been really good here as of late. The bats now have to start matching it, right? To put a little run together. You know you're going to face a pitching in Seattle. But this, again, another good win. Kind of move on to the next series.
Walker Buehler gets the win. 9 punch-outs in 7 innings today. He's now 3-1.
All right, this is where we begin on the Baseball Hour. This Marathon Monday, Patriots Day. Red Sox defeat the Chicago White Sox. 4-2 was your final at Fenway Park. They take 3 out of 4 from Chicago. This is the obvious place to start, but let me tell you what we're going to hit on through the course of this hour. First, the overall performance of the Red Sox over the weekend and really during the entire season to this point, but specifically 3 out of 4 to the White Sox. How do you feel about it? What does it mean? Because I have my own particular thoughts, which we'll get to momentarily. Then I do want to spend a particular time or, a certain amount of time on one of the games in this series. I'll tell you which in a moment. And later in the show, the National League team that you should be rooting for this season. And I'll tell you why. But again, you're going to have to hold on to that one for a little bit. We'll do that a little later in the program. 617-779-0985. We'll take your calls on anything, everything, even Triston Casas, which I am rapidly coming to the conclusion, whom I'm rapidly coming to the conclusion about, is the most hated player on the Red Sox. Kevin Majori, who's producing the show tonight. I cannot begin to tell you how many people have approached me in the last week, 2 weeks, telling me how much they despise Triston Casas. Are you a Casas fan, Majori?
Not really.
Okay, I didn't think so. I don't think anybody really is.
I gotta answer that borderline though, because I do share a seat with the biggest Casas fan in the building, so I don't want to be.
Milliken?
I don't want to be too harsh on him.
Okay, so the fact that Milliken likes him should give you enough reason to dislike him. Like that should tell you plenty, because Milliken will dig in on the most bizarre things sometimes, one of which is the popularity of Triston Casas or the lack of popularity of Triston Casas. I will say this, though, for the people that despise Casas, it's better for you if he performs. And I would say it's better for you if he performs in the next series, because the Seattle Mariners are coming in here. And Seattle needs offense. They've needed offense for a while. They have pitching to deal. If Casas were to hit them and wake up in that series with the Mariners, all the more reason for Seattle to start buying in. Teams tend to trade for players, or often trade for players who do well against them. They see them firsthand. They start to develop an attraction or affection for those players, and then they're drawn to them. So you should be hoping for Casas to have a big series and to awaken against Seattle. That would be a good thing. As for the White Sox, Red Sox win the finale 4-2. They take 3 out of 4. And I would still tell you, disappointing series against Chicago. Most times, I would tell you that in a 4-game series, it's extremely hard to sweep. Just hard to take 4 in a row from anybody, no matter how good or how bad. And I would also tell you that in this case, the exception applies for 2 reasons. One, the White Sox are historically bad, or coming off a season that is historically bad. The Red Sox played them 7 times in the last 10 days. They have gone 4-3. I like to look at it from the other way around, just so I can give you this stat. Chicago is 3-4 against the Red Sox this year. They are 2-13 against everybody else. 2-13. And yet they went 3-4 against you. So, the Red Sox took 3 out of 4. They should have won 4 out of 4, which is the other element in this this particular weekend series. They blew the game on yesterday. They blew yesterday's game. They shouldn't have blown that one. They had a lead in the late innings. And then, frankly, they almost blew the game on Saturday night. They had a lead in that one, 3-0 late. They blew the lead and ended up winning it in extra innings. But I'm not sure that was anything really to feel good about. Which brings me to the bigger picture question. Do you feel any better about the Red Sox than you did 4 days ago? Or do you just not feel worse? Did they just stop the bleeding? Because to me, it's a second thing. I feel like I have a hard time being excited or feeling good about a team that just beat the Chicago White Sox. But at least I don't feel worse. So I feel like things have stabilized with the Red Sox. That doesn't mean they're better. But I'm curious as to how you feel, particularly if you were at the game today. I'd love to see what kind of condition you're in on the way home. 617-779-0985. We'll kick off your calls tonight with Sean in Colorado. Sean, go ahead.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
Good.
Wanted to talk a little bit about Trevor Story. You had the stat a couple weeks ago about his production on fastballs versus production on breaking pitches. I'd love if you had an updated stat on that. And then I kind of want to talk, he seems to be one of the more productive bats. His approach seems to change a little bit. His whiffs are still there, but he seems to be just putting the ball in play a lot more. He's starting to produce more barrels. And so that kind of leads me to my question is, what does a productive bat of Trevor Story, how much does that raise the ceiling of the Red Sox, and how sustainable is his recent form and production?
So, Sean, thank you for the call. Here's what I would tell you about Story. I am not an especially big Trevor Story fan. I think Story's a perfectly a fine player on a team. And when I say a fine player, I don't think he drags you down. I don't think he's that kind of thing. He also had 3 errors over a 2-game span over the weekend, but I would say on average, that is the aberration, the exception more than it is the norm. He's typically a pretty good fielder and a good fielder. I don't know if he's great, but he's good. So he can play the position. He doesn't have the arm that he used to. I would say if you want to pick at something on his defense, watch his throws, particularly on relays or any throw from a distance. I saw him make a relay throw from the outfield on a play at the plate, about 10 days ago. And he had to really amp up to throw to the plate. And the ball got there, but it was high. And when I say that, I mean that if he has to gear it up to get a ball to the plate, I think he's going to lose some accuracy. I just don't think he has the arm strength anymore since the elbow injury. Now, does he have enough to get guys out because he has some acumen in the field, understands runners? Yes. As for the offense, there's nothing wrong with it overall. Story's numbers this year for the season are very good. He is hitting, let me see if I can give you the exact numbers here for the year. He's got 5 home runs. This one doesn't have RBI in it, but his OPS for the season is 894, which is very, very good. He has 30 hits, 6 stolen bases. So Story has given you a lot this year. And you asked about a specific breakdown by pitches. I'll tell you that his OPS, naturally, I can't do it this way because they don't give me the legitimate numbers anymore. And I say the customary numbers, not the legitimate ones. On fastballs, he's slugging 302. Slugging, not hitting. Slugging 302, which means the majority of his hits on fastballs have been singles. That's it. And yet, I think he has 1 extra base hit of his 12 hits on fastballs. It's 11 singles and 1 double. But as soon as you make that off speed, on breaking balls, he's slugging 645. On off speed pitches, he's slugging 1,000. So I'm guessing those are changeups. He has 2 home runs on changeups, 3 on breaking balls. All 5 of his home runs are on off speed pitches. So as long as teams keep pitching him that way, not his fault that he doesn't drive fastballs anymore. If teams want to keep making mistakes and throwing them changeups and breaking pitches, hammer away. But that's all he has hit out of the park so far this year. 3 breaking balls. I think it's 2 sliders and a curve. And on the off speed, it's 2 changeups. So he's yet to hit a fastball for a home run. If it were me, I would just pound the guy with fastballs, particularly on the outer half of the plate and up in the strike zone, because Story will chase. Let's go to Steven and Natick on Triston Casas. Good, Steven.
Hello?
Steven, you there? Yep, you're on the air.
Yeah, okay, Triston Casas, he reminds me of Dahlbeck. He, wasn't a team player when he brought up Devers' issue earlier this year. I mean, he's just a goofball. He paints his fingernails. I've been a Red Sox fan since Ike DeLocke and Tom Brewer and those guys. And
Steven, I got to let you go because your phone's awful. But what I would tell you is this. I don't think Casas sucks. I don't think he's Bobby Dahlbeck. I think he's better than Dahlbeck. Dahlbeck, to me, is like a borderline big leaguer. Casas is a big league player. The question is whether or not he's a big league player here. So I find the guy to be a colossal pain in the ass. But I wouldn't trade him right now because you're not going to get anything for him. This is why people will start calling you now about Casas, because they just want to get rid of him. And you don't care what you get back. I'd like to think he can get something for him. He's still only 25. Let's see what happens. We've seen him play much better than this. So give him some latitude and give him some runway. And you're not going to trade a guy on April 21st. No one's looking to make a blockbuster deal on April 21st. If they are, great. But I would say the chances of that are like zero or close to it. Could it happen at the trade deadline? Sure. Yes. Certainly it could happen in the offseason. I don't think it's going to happen now. But if you really want to move Casas, the right thing to do is hope for him to hit. They have a logjam of left-handed bats, and if Rafael Devers ends up playing some at first base to accommodate Roman Anthony or whoever else in the infield or at DH, the only way that's going to happen, that you're going to be able to move Casas, is if he hits. So you should hope for him to hit. But I don't think he's Bobby Dahlbeck. Is Dahlbeck in the big leagues right now? Could someone tell me that? I have no idea.
He played for the White Sox today. Well, at least he was. I know he was pinch hitting or scheduled to pinch hit at some point.
Okay, so that goes to show you how much I know. Is he getting any sort of regular time with the White Sox? And the fact that he's with the White Sox should tell you plenty. The White Sox are, of the 30 teams in big league baseball, they're 30th. He's right on the cusp of being bounced out of the big leagues. So for some reason, I wanted to say he was like with Cincinnati or something, but the White Sox make sense to me. So, but that should tell you plenty about, if you can't get regular time with the White Sox, you suck. They stink.
He hadn't played all season until today, pinch hit and struck out on 3 pitches.
Of course he did, because he blows.
You know who didn't like Dahlbeck? You got to give him credit.
Milliken. Well, that's a tough one, Kevin. We're going to start giving him. Credit for that.
Yes.
He didn't like Dahlbeck. Who likes Dahlbeck? As a player now, I'm sure he's a perfectly fine guy. Anyway, 617-779-0985. When we come back, what I think was the most revealing game of the series with the White Sox. And it's got nothing to do with the White Sox, because who gives a rat's ass about the White Sox? But the most revealing game of the series was the game on Saturday. It's actually a game the Red Sox won. But we'll tell you why when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
The Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz.
is gone. Robert has tied the game. And we're starting over again. His second home run of the year. And it is 3-3. Well,
we were just talking about it, and it was Robert last time. In that second game, you were up 2-0. Felt like you were sitting on that 2-run lead. He hit a 2-run homer. Remember, opposite field off Zach Kelly to tie it late. A little deja vu here again with Robert. Well, that man right there, he said over and over and over again, double plays in this league need to be turned. Right, and if that double play is turned, we're already sitting in the dugout. And that's what he's thinking right now.
Steve O'Brien, Lou Merlone during the broadcast on Saturday. I'm getting my days mixed up because of the holdover series with the White Sox. Patriots, they screws everything up. It feels like a Sunday, like I'm working on a Sunday. So that's a game on Saturday. The Red Sox ended up winning this game. They ended up winning the game 4-3 over the White Sox on Saturday. They lost yesterday 8-4. And yet I would tell you that in a lot of ways I'm more bothered by the game on Saturday. I didn't like yesterday's game either. They blew the lead. I think they had a 4-2 lead in that one late. They blew the game. But I thought the game Saturday was worse. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the sequence of errors and mistakes that the Red Sox made. And when I say errors, I don't mean scoring errors. I mean mistakes. The sequence of mistakes that they made in the game. So you heard Lou Merlone mention a double play there. There's a double play in the inning that they failed to turn. Greg Weissert then gives up a 2-run homer. Now all of a sudden you get a 3-3 game. Just to get it off my chest, the home run was a mistake too. It was an awful pitch. Horrendous. Complete total garbage. The catcher was set up way on the outside corner, like off the plate. Because they all throw these sweepers now that basically slide across the strike zone, then move 3 feet, and you try to bait a right-handed batter into waving at it, and he's got no chance of hitting it because it's basically moving sideways by the time it gets to the plate. Weissert missed it on the inside corner. The ball just hung there, and Luis Robert belted it into the left field seats over the monster, the left field wall. So not only did he miss location, he missed it by like 3 feet. It was a horrible, horrible pitch. And it's not the necessarily the calling of the pitch that bothered me. It's the execution of it. So, look, I admit I'm biased, but guys like Weissert bug the crap out of me because I think the guy's really kind of a one-trick pony. He's okay, but he's just that big sweep and breaking ball is it. I don't even know what his numbers are against lefties. They're probably better than I think, but he's the kind of guy that you got to pick your spot with, and lots of righties can only get righties. Some lefties can only get lefties. I know the game is filled with them, but the specialist has never been a thing for me. I just like guys that can get both people out. And if that's a small number of people, so be it. But the pitch was so bad. He missed it by such a distance that I can't let it go. Now, that said, he made one of a handful of mistakes in that inning that was like a chain reaction. And not just that inning, I really should say over a series of innings there. I don't mean to put them all in the 7th inning because the Red Sox led that game 3-0 at one time. And then because of the mistake to Robert, it went to 3-3 real fast. But even before that, Play had run and scored. So let's just go back to the beginning of the inning. Because again, this is why it didn't feel like a win. It felt like a loss. If you were at Fenway Park on Saturday, you left the ballpark saying they kind of lucked out. They stole the game. They're still making a lot of the same stupid mistakes they were making during that 10-game stretch that Cora said they were playing bad baseball. In the last few innings on Saturday, the Red Sox played bad baseball. So let's start with the double play. Man on first. Ball is hit to Casas, who is moving to his left, meaning he's going to be able to step on the base first. There's already one out in the inning. This would have ended the inning. Kevin Majori, go ahead.
Bouncer to first. Casas gets the out. Going to need a tag. Yeah, that gets away. That rolls into shallow left. Palacios down to third. Stops there. Got the out at first. But a man now 90 feet away. And the 2 gone.
Triston does the right thing here. He gets this ball. This is Story's going to have to tag him, but the throw, I think, is across the runner. I would say like the center field side of this bag. So Story goes across the runner and tries to bring the tag in from behind, and Taylor just knocks the ball out. With the shortstop, you usually kind of give that inside target on that throw because that's where you're tagging it. And when you throw it across the run, you sort of lose it. Makes for a tough tag.
Okay, so now that's really hard to visualize if you didn't see the play. So I'm going to try to do it for you as well. Again, Casas is moving towards the bag when he feels the grounder. So you know what he did? He stepped on the bag. Fine, no problem. Good play. I mean, no reason not to, but then makes a tag play at second base. You take the force off, but because you're going that way, all you got to be able to do is fire down a second, make the tag, get the double play that way. It's just a 3-6 double play, not a 3-6-3. But Casas makes a bad throw. So you hear Merlone say, typically what happens there is that the infielder will move to the inside of the bag at second. Trevor Story's coming from the shortstop side. If Casas throws that ball, if he tags the bag with his right foot and turns in such a way to step, he can step inside the baseline, throw to Story, who puts the tag down, because then, the runner's coming into his glove side. Casas threw the ball to the other side so much so that Story was basically falling toward right field. Story then spun around with his back to first base and tried to make the tag and actually put it on the runner, but it got kicked out of his glove. So I didn't love the way Story did it either, because he kind of turned around and wasn't able to really watch the play. The ball got kicked out, the runner's safe, and the runner ended up going to third base. Story got the error on the play, but it started with a bad throw by Casas. Okay. The Red Sox get out of the inning. It's 3-3. Because right after that came the home run off of Weissert. The Red Sox get Alex Bregman on with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. This happened.
Boozer home with a 1-2. Runner goes. Too high. The throw down. The tag, and he will be out. Alex Bregman cut down trying to steal second. Alex Cora went all the way out to second base to talk with Phil Cuzzy after Bregman was called out, looking for obstruction there of the base, but that's not reviewable.
Yeah, and Sosa was thinking about dropping that knee, but he actually did a nice job not doing it. Why that's not reviewable, I don't know. If we have replay, should be able to review.
Take a look.
But look at Sosa. The knee is about to drop, and you're thinking, okay, that you can't do that. But he never hits the ground, and then he gets upright and shows the bag to Bregman.
Okay, I don't understand why Bregman was trying to steal second against a left-handed pitcher. Bregman's not exactly a burner. You've got him on first in the bottom of the 7th. Trevor Story's at the plate, meaning the catcher's got a clean throw down to second. Why are you trying to steal anyway? And then the part about the potential blocking of the bag, which Cora disputed, the second baseman never put his knee down. So I don't know why Cora went out there to discuss it. The second baseman started to go down like he was going to block the bag, but then came up and didn't block the base. There was no violation there. So I don't know what Cora was really bitching about. I didn't see any reporting on it, and shame on me if it was out there, but I didn't see it. Nobody followed up on it. Not that that should shock you either. Okay, then one more thing. The game stayed 3-3. You go into the 9th inning. The Red Sox come to bat. Leadoff batter is Narvaez, who singles. And then Benintendi overthrows the man at second base, so Narvaez gets to second. Leadoff man at second base. Nobody out. Cora puts David Hamilton into pinch run for Narvaez with Rafaela due up. And this happens.
Hamilton, the fastest man on the diamond.
I'm letting him hit. I'm going to take 3 shots. I got Durant on deck. I got Devers on deck after that.
1-0. Chopper, glove, they're going to play it third. Here's the tag. He's going to be out. He slid beyond the bag anyway. Hamilton cut down at third. Leisure made the play on the mound, and Hamilton was dead.
You know, David Hamilton with that speed, and sometimes, though, you feel like you can outrun anything. You gotta let that ball get by the pitcher. If he makes the play, you're still on second here with 1 out in scoring position. You made it close.
Okay, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? That's just bad. That's just a bad read. It's a bad play. I don't care how fast the guy is. Like, what are you doing? And I'm not picking on Lou. You know, I understand the logic that the guy feels like he can outrun anything. It was a colossal mistake. Man on second, nobody out. Hit right back to the pitcher, and he's breaking for third. You can't go unless the ball gets by the mound. Can't go. He gets thrown out, killed the rally. They don't score. They ended up winning in the 10th. But that series of mistakes, this is why, if you don't feel great about the Red Sox over the weekend with the White Sox, this is why. Weiser gives up a horrible home run to the only place where that guy could beat him. He hung it on the inside half of the plate when the catcher, Narvaez, was basically set up in the left-handed batter's box. He was way off the plate. Prior to that, they had botched a double play. Then Bregman gets thrown out stealing. Then Hamilton, who's in the game as a pinch runner, gets thrown out going at second to third with nobody out on a comebacker back to the pitcher. Cannot happen. You won because you were playing the White Sox. The next day, you blew the lead and you didn't come back. So the White Sox still found a way to beat you. And if you pull that kind of crap against functional teams, you're going to lose more. And the Red Sox right now, instead of being 2 over, would basically be 500. Anyway, Kevin Majori's got your headlines. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, the National League team that you should be rooting for, and I'll explain why. We'll also take your calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox are 4-2 winners today.
knowing, if this was going to come together until that postseason?
I mean, from my end, I've always been a fan. I learned the hard way in 18. But just talking to him, it's not only pitching, it's the overall thing. Just talking to him, Alex, Justin Wilson, these guys, they're proven winners. And when they come to the ballpark, they expect, clean games and play well and be consistent. And, he's been solid for us. He's getting there. He's not there yet, but like I said in spring training, in a bad day, he'll go 5, give us a chance to win. Today was solid. He gave us 7.
It's Alex Cora. That was after today's game, talking about Walker Buehler, who went 7 innings today. Talk about something you don't say often anymore in the major leagues. Pitcher going 7 innings. It's more often than you think. I looked it up today. There were hundreds of occasions of it last year, but it used to be standard. Guy would go 7 innings in a game. Now, that doesn't happen anymore. You're lucky if you get 5. But Buehler's performance triggered a thought from something that I read over the weekend, I read over the weekend. It was published last week, which I'll get to in a second, about something a team in Major League Baseball is doing and is a reason to root for them. Okay, we'll get to that momentarily. We'll take a couple of calls first. 617-779-0985. Andrew is in Austin. Andrew, on Triston Casas' defense. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, just real quick, too, for your point on Dahlbeck. So he signed a minor league contract and just got called up today, so he really is like a fringe league player. But second of all, you might not have been watching because you were prepping for your show, but Casas today had a very similar play where ground ball to him, he tagged first and threw a dime to Story. So I know we've talked about in the past him not taking coaching well, and he clearly adjusted well for that at least. So I'm not trying to defend Casas. I'm not a huge Casas fan, but I just wanted to point out that from today.
No, Andrew, thank you. I did not see the play, so I appreciate it. If you're telling me that he didn't make the same mistake today, good. Good. That's progress. So one of my complaints with Casas is that I don't feel like he has been. Oh, and I'm just going by the stories I read. I've never met Casas. I don't know him. I'm just the vibe is that he has the answers for everything. For a 25-year-old guy, he sure seems to know a hell of a lot. His answers sometimes are over the top and detailed to what I would call, I don't want to say an alarming degree, but a degree that is not believable. Because most people can't think about something to that depth that quickly when a play happens on the field. They just know, okay, speed on second, slow guy on third. So hit to the, on a fly ball, I might be throwing to third base if it's an outfielder because I'm not going to get the guy scoring from third. Get it? Stuff like that. He almost tries to prove that he's got the answer for everything, let alone when he starts talking about the roster or who's playing third base in spring training, whether young guys should make the team. It's just, it's enough. And the stuff that I read last year concerned how he practiced some plays that just would not typically come up many times over the course of a season. And why? So he could look good and make a spectacular play when he can't make a simple 3-6 double play? So that's my issue with Casas. He's more interested in the attention that comes with being a big leaguer than in actually being one. That's what it feels like. Loves the attention that goes with being Triston Casas, and so oftentimes seems to play like he wants to show people how good he is instead of just playing and letting your play do that by itself. So, but I what's the word I'm looking for? When I get distracted or I, divert. Anyway, I saw this story last week. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. It's driving me bananas. Never mind. God, it's irrelevant. So listen to this. Here's why you should be rooting for this team in baseball, which I'm going to get to momentarily. This story was in the Wall Street Journal last week concerning the state of baseball. I'm going to read some of it to you first. The author's a guy named Jared Diamond, who writes, Major League Baseball has two giant problems when it comes to pitching two giant problems when it comes to pitching that appear to be at odds. The first is that an alarming number of the best young hurlers are succumbing to an epidemic of career-altering elbow injuries. The other is that starters, the sport's leading men for a century, have been relegated to a supporting role. So the bullpen games, the fact that teams use more pitchers in games than ever before, has minimized the value of a starting pitcher. I think we would all agree with those two things. But one club now believes it has found a counterintuitive way to solve both issues at once. And again, both issues being the alarming number of arm injuries to good pitchers and the fact that starters are being minimized and not relied on anymore. So I'll read that sentence again. One club now believes it has found a counterintuitive way to solve both issues at once. The San Francisco Giants believe that the best way to protect expensive arms isn't for starters to pitch less, as has been the longstanding philosophy across the game. This team thinks they should pitch more. If I was training to run a marathon, said Giants Vice President of Player Development Randy Wynn, my training wouldn't be to not run. You follow that? So, for example, Tim McBone, who works on the Midday Show, trained for the marathon. You know what he did? He built up his length as he went along. And he ran 20 miles in one of his most recent runs. Today, he finished the race. Based on the way Major League Baseball does it, they want to protect their pitchers, so they ask them to throw harder and throw less. It's the ass backwards of what you would ask a marathoner to do. So I read you the Win comment. The Giants plan to allow their minor league starters to go deeper into games, eschewing the rigid pitch counts and innings limits that have become the norm for young pitchers. The goal is to develop pitchers who are not only capable of consistently going deep into games, but also who view that workload as an integral part of their jobs. Now, just to give you some of the stats. Again, so what the Giants are doing in the minor leagues, they're not doing it at the big league level yet, and that's smart. Because the guys who come up from the minor leagues are being conditioned to pitch the way they're pitching in the big leagues. Nope, we want you to give us 20 pitches, 1 inning, and we want you to air it out on every one. That's it. And as a starter, if you're a starter, we're only going to let you face the lineup twice anyway. So in those 85 pitches that you throw, you're going to throw your ass off. And then you're going to come out of the game because we're only going to give you 80 pitches, max 100, which is what Buehler threw today for the Red Sox, by the way. We're not going to let you go more than that because you'll hurt yourself. When the reality is, you know what really hurts pitchers? Overthrowing. Not the volume of pitches. The volume of pitches you're throwing at max effort. It's the max effort that causes the injuries, not the number of pitches you're throwing. Back in the 70s and 80s, guys were conditioned to throw 135, 140 pitches. They had fewer arm injuries. They had longer careers. Now these guys blowing out their arms constantly. So just to give you some of the numbers, 20 years ago, 50 different pitchers, 5-0, threw at least 200 innings. In 2024, there were 4 of them. Okay, that's basically 1 out of every 12 and a half. That's it, compared to where we were 20 years ago. In 2024, there were just 4, tied with 2021 for the fewest in an uninterrupted season. Let me just give you a couple of other numbers so you have the whole picture. Minor league starters lasted at least 5 innings in 40% of all games last season. That was down from nearly 70% in 2005. So from 2005 to 2024, half as many pitchers, pretty close, were going at least 5 innings. And they appeared with 5 days or rest 5 days of rest or fewer, just 11% of the time. So think of that. 89% of the time, the guys in the minor leagues had 6 days of rest or more. 89%. 6 days. 5 days is extra. 5 days is extra as it is. So 89% of the time they were getting 6 days or more. The Giants are trying to change that. So what do I think? I think you should be rooting for the Giants, who, by the way, right now have the 5th best record in baseball and rank tied for 4th in run differential. Their starters in the minor leagues, they're asking to go deeper into games, pitch more frequently, and to pitch more frequently at the same time. Shorter rest, and you're going longer. And I love it, so you should root for the Giants. There's someone that has the balls to actually do it the way it used to be done, which is smarter, not dumber. We'll take your calls, and we'll wrap it up when we come back.
This is the Baseball Hour on the Sports Hub. the Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz on the Sports Hub.
From that story on what the Giants are doing with their minor league pitchers. Rich is in Millbury. Rich, go ahead.
Mazz, you got to give me a reason why Red Sox are keeping Casas.
Okay, because it's too early to give up on him. That's why.
He's like the black sheep of the team.
Say that again. Rich, say that again.
He's like the black sheep of the team. He doesn't care. Everyone else cares but him.
Okay, so look, I don't know if he cares, doesn't care. I just I let Rich go, Kevin. I get the feeling. I mean, I feel like Casas is selfish. Some of that could be immaturity, but I would also tell you that the game is inherently selfish. Baseball players they all want their at-bats. They all want their glory. It's an individual sport in a lot of ways that's hidden in the framework of a team game. But I would also say that it works like any office does. We all sort of do our own thing, and at the end of the day, it's all supposed to work together, but it's not like you're making blocks for the guy sitting in the cube next to you. The true team sports, whoever made a mistake can often be hidden. In baseball, it's not. It's out there for everybody to see. So now, is Casas any more selfish than any other guy? I don't know. Feels like it, but hard to know because maybe other guys just hide it better. And he's not this bad. We've seen him at his best. He can produce when he's playing well, and his defense is serviceable. But he has not played that way in a long time. So he had a 3-homer game at the end of last season. That's probably the last time any of us has seen it. He didn't play well last year for any length of time because he missed a good chunk of the season. It felt like he didn't want to come back and play until he was 100% ready. Lots of reasons not to like him. But that doesn't mean you trade him now when he's worth nothing. In fact, I think that would be a mistake. They're not going to be able to keep all these guys. When Anthony comes up, Marcelo Meyer comes up, somebody's going. More than one. Rafaela feels like an easy one. Casas feels like an easy one, but let's see. Maybe it's going to be Jarren Duran. Maybe Casas becomes a DH. Devers plays first. Anthony plays left. Duran gets traded. I don't know. Could be any one of a million possibilities. Maybe Anthony plays center field like everyone thinks. I question whether or not he could do that in the big leagues, but we'll find out. Lots of possibilities. Who's in tonight, Kevin? Is it Joe Murray?
Alex Barth and Kendra Middleton.
Okay, there you go. Alex Barth, Kendra Middleton, they have you for the rest of the night. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Baseball Hour.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Holiday 3, good night.
Forces it up over. No!
Somebody tied it.
Oh! WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox are 4-2 winners today at Fenway to take 3 of 4 from the White Sox. Walker Buehler went 7 innings, allowing 1 run and striking out 9. Next up for the Sox is a 3-game set with the Mariners starting at Fenway Park tomorrow night. Celtics were 103-86 winners in Game 1 against the Orlando Magic yesterday at the Garden. Derek White led the way for the